Now live, please share, subscribe, hit that like button for me, and let's get to this live. Now, Trump loses in court again. A federal appeal court rules against President Donald Trump, blocking his administration attempts to eliminate birthright citizenship. A three-judge panel from the First Circuit Courts of Appeals have upheld a lower court injunction that prevented the enforcement of Trump's January executive order aimed at limiting the constitutional rights that automatically grants Americans citizenship to anyone born in the U.S., regardless of their parents' nationality or legal status. Now, what the court says in a 100-page ruling that Trump orders violated the Constitution 14 Amendments, which states that anyone born in the United States is a citizen. The lesson of his history that will give us every reason to be worried of now blessing this most recent effort to break with our established transition of recognizing birthright citizenship, and to make citizenship depends on the actions of one's parents rather than in all but the aware of circumstances, the simple facts of being born in the United States. The decision reads in parts: our nation history of effort to restrict birthright citizenship from Scott in the decade before the Civil War to attempt justification for enforcement of Chinese exclusions acts and wrong King art have not been a proud one. The court also rules. Now headed to the Supreme Court. This ruling is the fifth from a federal court in recent months that had effectively blocked the president's executive orders from taking effect. The Trump administration asked the Supreme Court, which began its new sessions in October, to hear its appeal in one of those other related cases. The Department of Justice wants the highest court in the country to decide if Trump executive orders is constitutional. According to the White House spokesperson Jackson, the three-judge panel behind the most recent ruling misinterpreted the 14 Amendments. We look forward to bringing justice by the Supreme Court, Jackson says. What Trump has said about it. Now, both conservative and liberal federal judges have ruled President Donald Trump executive order seeking to end birthright citizenship unconstitutional. Trump, who have implemented a series a hardlines immigration policy focused on mass deportations, restricting legal immigration paths, intensifying borders enforcements as pillar of his second administration wants the U.S. born children of unlawful immigrants deported alongside their parents. I don't want to be breaking up families, he says on meeting the press shortly before beginning his second term. The only way you don't break up the families is you keep them together. You have to send them all back. Now, what about California? So it says what California said about. So it said California is one of the 20 states included in the lawsuit seeking to block Trump executive orders. The state top legal officers, Attorney General Rob, celebrate the appeal court panel rulings, writing on X that decision upholds a nationwide injunctions and our lawsuits challenging the president's attempts to end with the stroke of a pen the Constitution rights to birthright citizenship. Rob made it clear California will continue to oppose this executive order until the president attempts to unmake the Constitution is blocked it completely. Now, Trump is trying to destroy birthrights. Now, we're gonna get through this live, y'all, because we see there's a lot of things Trump is doing, deploying heavy National Guards, you know what I mean, deportation, immigration, separating families. Yeah, we got a lot to cover, y'all. Now, let's get to this live.
So to speak, and I signed this years ago, and Biden unsigned it for me. This was something that should have been long operating and making billions of dollars for our country and supplying a lot of energy and minerals and everything else that we're talking about. And they undid it and wasted a lot of time and a lot of money, a lot of effort. And now we're starting again, and this time we have plenty of time to get it done, and it's going to be done properly. I'd like to ask your Department of Interior head, who has done a fantastic job, Chuck Burgum, to say a few words about it, and we'll go to Chris after you, and anybody else that wants to say something. It's a very powerful deal, very, very big deal from the standpoint of minerals and energy. So thank you all for being here. Doug, please go ahead.
Well, thank you, President Trump. Yesterday is a historic day.
Now, the New York Times came up with this, tracking the lawsuits against Trump's agenda. Now, the Trump administration's sweeping policy change face a number of lawsuits. Bear with me. Now, according to this report, it says Trump is in a series of lawsuits that's piling up against him. Now, the Trump administration is sweeping policy change, face a number of lawsuits. In many of these cases, the court have let the administration policy stay in effect, but in more than 100 cases, the court have issued a preliminary injunction or temporary restrictions on the administration directives. Here is a snapshot of where the lawsuits against Trump stands. It says the Trump administration is using an agenda when it comes to the amendment, the Constitution. So Trump court lose all. So it says the Trump court lose are piling up. Here's why. So it says, here's why that is not slowing him down. So as long as we see Trump signing more executive orders breaking the 14th Amendment, right? So the U.S. President Donald Trump has suffered a strain courtroom losses in recent days as he and his administration continue to test the legal limits of presidential powers, despite suffering 6 legal setbacks in less than a week. The administration is foregoing ahead with its agendas in large parts because none of these rulings constitutes the final judicial word on the matter. In the case with the biggest implications for Canada, the U.S. Court Appeals for the Federal Circuit ruled against Trump in position of bribe based on tariff on a wide range of trading partners. Tariffs the administration have justified as a response to economic and narcotic emergencies. That ruling came August 29th, last Friday. Since then, in a quick succession, 5 others noteworthy court decisions have gone against the Trump administration. Sunday, a federal judge put in mercy long week halt to the Trump administration plan to deport nearly 700 unoccupied immigrants. So it says, Tuesday, a federal judge in California ruled that the Trump administration broke the laws of sending the military to fight crimes in Los Angeles, which was unlawful, which don't fit the Constitution law. So it says, Wednesday, a federal judge in Boston found that the administration moved to freeze more than $2 billion of U.S. of Harvard University research funding was against the laws. Wednesday, a federal appeal court panels rules 2-1 that Trump cannot use the 18th century's Alien Enemy Acts to speed the deportations of alleged members of the Venezuelan's crime gangs called criminal gangs. Wednesday, a federal district judge in Washington blocked Trump from cutting $12 billion of U.S. foreign aid funds previously approved by Congress. The White House already petitioned the Supreme Court to consider tariff rulings, and in the meantime, the tariffs remain in place. Now, the Trump administration can appeal all the rulings and almost certainly will, according to the legal experts. Now, this is sad, y'all. This is sad. Trump got so much lawsuits hanging over him. This is not looking good, y'all. Remember I told you guys that if we can get a petition going of what Trump is doing, violating the 14th Amendment rights, the Constitution laws. So it says, even when Trump planned to send troops to Chicago after the judge ruled practice illegal. Now, despite a U.S. judge declaring it was illegal to send the National Guard to Los Angeles in June, President Donald Trump says it is his obligation to send troops to Chicago to combat crimes. So it says, now, Peter, a professor at Mitchell Hamline School of Law in St. Paul, Minnesota, says he believes the Trump administration is banking on the Supreme Court largely ruling in his favor on any case that it makes it that far. It seems like the executive, the Trump administration, is saying, hey, we just keep moving forward. Even these lower courts have disagreed with us. We fairly confident that the U.S. Supreme Court will uphold our power to do these things, he told CBC News. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice John G. Roberts, will place some limitations on executive authorities. He believes the Trump administration have good reason for ostracism, but its chances of winning at the first stage of these legal battles. Now, Robert Court has cried in appetite for upsetting long standings, he says, and certainly we've seen the Robert Court also interpret the powers of the president as much more expansive than other courts had in the past. So it says there are officials from the Trump administration spent the weekend pushing back against a U.S. appeal court ruling that most tariffs against Canada was illegal. Economic advisor Peter called the decision politically motivated. Now, the tariff case could be an exception, we see. It addressed both the tariffs Trump on import from Canada and Mexico in March, and what the president called his Liberation Day tariffs, first imported on dozens of countries in April, quickly paused, then replied in August. Trump is the first president to try using the International Emergency Economic Power Act to impose tariffs. Now, Scott R. Anderson, a senior fellow in the National Security Law Program at Columbia Law School, says he's not confident that the Supreme Court will accept the Trump administration arguments. I think it's actually a harder case for the Supreme Court than one might expect, Anderson told the Lawfare Daily podcast this week. There are lots of competing interests. The competing legal trends, the intersection here is not super easy to me to see how they get disentangled. The High Court guidelines in the Foreign Aid case, even the judge himself acknowledged the legal battle is far from over. Now, the district judge wrote in his ruling that the High Court's guidance will be needed in the case that he says raises questions for legal and practical importance, chiefly whether the president can stop a federal agency from spending money that Congress have already allowed. Now, it says members of California National Guards are deployed outside a complex of federal buildings in Santa Ana, California. June 18, a federal judge has ruled that the Trump administration cannot use the military to fight crimes in California. Mike Blake says, what remains to be seen is whether the administration shifts tactic and responds to any of these cases. Now, the order in California declared the use of military to police Los Angeles to be unlawful doesn't apply to the administration ongoing deployments of the National Guards in Washington to deal with what it claims is a surge in crimes. Trump is still threatened to send the National Guards into Chicago and respond to crime, although he had made a move to do so by Friday. Now, we've seen what they came in Chicago, terrorizing, ransom people's home. Kids was arrested. There was people that was undressed that was arrested. And see, meanwhile, we seen the White House is pushing back on some of these rulings while stopping short of absolute of stopping these unlawful acts that we see that Trump is doing, this insurrectional acts that don't fit our laws, the Constitution, violating the 14th Amendment right. Now let's go.
President Trump, as he promised when he was running in the election to the American people, that he was going to unlock the potential of this country. He was going to unlock America's mineral wealth. He was going to generate returns for American people. And he was going to importantly bolster critical supply chains around critical minerals for our country. On day one, he signed in a very important executive order unleashing Alaska's extraordinary resource potential. And this is part of the continuation. There's a number of things that have already happened with Alaska that are moving forward. There's more to come, but big milestone today in reversing this Biden era decision about the Ambler Road. This is a 211-mile long road that begins over 200 miles north of Fairbanks off the Hall Road that goes up to the North Slope. This road, it goes through an area where there's no roads. Ambler Mining District at the end of that has some of the richest mining deposits in all of America and in all of the world. And these are minerals that are absolutely essential to defense, to industry moving forward today. Just take copper alone. This is one of the richest copper locations in the country. And of course, today to build a data center, you can have tens of thousands of tons of copper required for that. Even
I want you guys to understand the federal judge had lost all patience with Trump. A federal judge we see in Maryland on Monday blocked the Trump administration from the deportation so we see, in according to reports, the federal judge have zero patience on the Trump administration and what he's doing. So it says, on Monday, the federal judge blocked the Trump administration from delaying the deportation case of immigration. Now, the judge ordered both parties to return to court Friday, this time with a government official prepared to testify under oath about plan to deport him to Southern African nations. Now, Trump got, you know what I mean, so many lawsuits pending on breaking Constitution laws that he's doing what's unlawful. Now, I want to say there've been 93% that Trump, when we look at Trump, is losing the 93% of the cases in court. We know because it says, according to this report, bear with me, it says the Trump administration Supreme Court lose over its sloppy attempts to end the program is familiar experience for the administrations. It says, according to institution policy, Trump administration have failed nearly 93% of the time when its agency actions have been challenged in court, typically for violations of the Administrative Procedure Act. So it says, now, according to this, the APA ensured that there is a transparent and public process for making rules, and the agency provide reasons, explanation for policy decisions. The APA seems that, according to reports, it says, we are continuing to enforce the APA and those appended actions involving healthcare and immigration protection, among many others. Now, Representative Chicago in their lawsuit against the Trump administration, unlawful refused to reopen the ACA enrollment. Now, the ACA requires special enrollment period for opens in response to exceptional circumstances like the pandemic, but the Trump administration refused to follow the laws and open the enrollment. It has failed to provide a reason, explanation for denying millions of Americans access to qualified, affordable health care. And the deadly public health crisis we see, the administration decision is contrary to the laws that we see. Now let's go.
A single family home today may have as much as 400 pounds of copper in a home. And we have, as a nation, in the past, basically gotten out of the mineral and energy and mining area. President Trump, when he said drill baby drill, he also was mine baby mine. We've got to get back in the mining business. China controls 85 to 100% of all the mining and refining of the top 20 critical minerals. And in this mine area up there, we got copper, lead, zinc, gold, silver, gallium, germanium. So rich in all of the minerals that we need to win the AI arms race against China and to prosper as a country. And so, again, today, this was his history being made.
Now look, we know China owns 80% because 80% of our food, our goods come out of China, y'all. So what Trump, see, look, y'all, this is why Trump is putting tariffs and sanctions in these foreign countries. It's going to make it worse for us. Now I told y'all we are seeing the food chamber. Expecting that, like we see it already, high cost of food. You know, a government shutdown, y'all, is going to bring the economy into a big crash. It's like when we see a government shutdown, they still working. See, while we always looking into our right hand side, see China, Russia looking on in, you know, on the left hand side. If we looking on the right hand, China gonna be looking on the left hand. You know, the problem that America have is they can't fix the problem. So there's another problem they have. How can we fix our economy? Let's go.
When some of this was set aside in 1980 by Jimmy Carter, there was a special authority created for presidents to decide if there was a dispute. And so for the first time in history, a president is actually using that authority. President Trump, as he does, using his authority for the benefit of the American people. And the appeal came in from the state of Alaska asking that this road be built. Alaska is not a colony, they're a state. They have an opportunity to build roads like any other state. With this signing, President Trump, Alaska, go ahead and build this road. It'll be a toll road, not a public road. It's a toll road, so it'll be controlled in terms of traffic. It's a gravel road. It'll be sensitive to the environment. There'll be collaboration with the Native Alaskan corporations in terms of how it's built and how it's used, supporting the Alaskan Native tribes with subsistence hunting regulations on either side of this. But this opens up a wealth of resources. In addition, there's going to be an announcement made later today that is part of this announcement that the Department of War in the United States government is making an investment in Trilogy Minerals. They're one of the companies that has mining claims in this area that is remote wilderness right now. And again, making that investment so we can make sure that we're securing these critical mineral supplies and that ownership.
Now they want to do anything to take the minerals from China. And if it means putting, tariffs into trying to take these minerals, there's always something. See, the devil is a good manipulator. He's a good liar. He's a good trickster. And he knows how to fabricate lies. And he knows how to get what he wants. Now, China got 85% of minerals. Now, 80% food comes out of China. So I want to say, what do you think is going to happen? When Trump signed more of these executive orders, see, look, y'all gotta look at it, man. Trump is putting tariffs on everything. Sanctions over in Russia. But do you think for a second it's going to affect their economy? Or do you think things are really going to get where we're going to see an escalation? A war is coming through America, y'all. They trying to block out Roe versus Wade. They try to deny these birthrights. They're doing a lot of stuff right in front of our eyes. Let's go.
In that company will benefit the American people. With that, I'll kick it over to Chris Wray.
Thank you, Doug. And what a huge thank you to the president today. This is a tremendous achievement for the people of Alaska. We were in the North Slope of Alaska a few months ago celebrating energy development there. They want jobs and opportunity to develop the resources on their lands. This is another major step forward. We say energy is the lifeblood of society, the circulatory system. minerals and metals. They're the skeletal infrastructure, the physical upholding.
Well, they supposedly said China has the minerals, and this is why they trying to, you know what I mean, get the minerals, you know what I mean, in China. You know, I won't be surprised, y'all, that Trump will put 50% tariffs if he already haven't put 50% tariffs into China. I believe 85% minerals come out of China, y'all. They're gonna find a reason to get those minerals out of China, y'all. Let's go.
Of everything we do, everywhere we walk and operate, your cameras, everything you hold are made out of metals and minerals. President Biden thought it was appropriate to offshore both of these industries outside of our country. That has not left us in a strong place. President Trump, in his first term, and even more strongly in his second term, is bringing those industries back to our country. America was a mining powerhouse for a long, long time, and our mining industry got squelched. Now we're seeing it come back to life. You saw the president's truth not long ago about a deal for lithium production in Nevada just a week or so ago. This will more than tenfold increase American lithium production. And this infrastructure, this mining road in the Ambler Mining District, will just have immense impact on future mining opportunities for our country's security and economic opportunities for the people of Alaska. Our critical minerals and mining expert within the administration is standing right next to me, David Copley. I'll see if he wants to add any words.
This is a really big deal for the American mining industry, and I think it shows the president's seriousness about getting this industry going, making sure we have the critical minerals we need for our defense industrial base and for our broader economy.
Thank you very much. And I think we want to get this going by a certain time, so I signed it. And Will, I'm going to give it to you, and you get it filed. Good job. It's a big job. Thank you very much. So we created a great deal of wealth.
Now, Trump says the U.S. would get rare earth minerals from China, and tariffs on China's good will totally 50% under new trade framework. Now, remember China had 50% tariffs Trump put. Now, it went up to 55. Now, according to this report, Washington, President Donald Trump announced Wednesday that China will make it easier for American industry to obtain much needed magnet and rare earth minerals, clearing the way for talk continue between the world's two biggest economies. In return, Trump says the U.S. will stop effort to invoke the Chinese national and on U.S. college campus. The Trump comments on social media came after the 2 days of high-level U.S.-China trade talk in London. Details remain. Now, Trump didn't fully spill out what concession the U.S. made. Beijing have not confirmed it. What the negotiators agreed to the Chinese president and Trump himself have yet to sign off on it. What Trump described as a deal is actually less than that. It's a framework, means to set the stage for more substantive talk. And Trump's own comments created confusion about what was happening to his taxes, tariffs on China imports, generating uncertainty about more than 660 billion annual trades between the two countries. It says on social media, Trump declared we are getting a total of 55% tariffs. China is getting 10%. Relations is excellent, but a White House official was not authorized to discuss the terms publicly and insisted on. Now, according to report, it says to describe them, says the 55% was not an increase on the previous 30% tariffs on China, because Trump was including the existing tariffs, including some left over from his first term. We have no idea what the rules are, said Rick, CEO of the educational toy company Learning Resources, who is part of the lawsuit challenging Trump's authorities to impose the tariffs. In a follow-up social media post, Trump says he and the prime leader of China are going to work closely together to open up China to American trades. This will be a great win for both countries. The framework emerged late Tuesday in London after intense talk involving U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott and Secretary Howard, and U.S. Trade Rep. Minister leading the Chinese delegations was Vice Premier. It says, according to a report, it says since returning to the White House in January, Trump has deployed tariffs aggressively, seeing them as a way to raise money for the federal governments, protect American industries, lure factories back to the United States, and pressure other countries into binding to his will. So it says he has imposed baseline 10% tariffs on imports from almost every country on earth, and have been introduced and then suspended for 90 days bigger tariffs on the countries based on the size of the U.S. trades. So it says to America trading partners and to the business calculating their import tax bills, the president approach to trade policy can be baffling. For example, he recently doubled his steel and aluminum tariffs, to 50%, likely increasing costs for the U.S. manufacturers and construction companies that rely on the metal as raw materials. I told y'all, 50% tariffs that's happening in 14 countries. China is this one, because China, 80%, got a high 80%. Our food now 85% minimal. Now, this is what Trump is going to do, bringing the tariffs to go up. As we see, according to the report, it says likewise, he threatened a 50% of tariffs. Bear with me for a second. That he is threatening a 50% of tariffs in the European Union under the belief that will jumpstart talk with the bloc only to back down on his self-imposed 90 days negotiating period. Now let's go.
For that part of the world and that part of our country by doing this long, very difficult road to build, and we'll be talking about that sometime later. But it's a great deal for our country. It's a great deal for the people of our country and for the taxpayers of our country. And if you have any questions on that, let me know. Steve, the road to be constructed. How quickly will I get underway?
Well, this road, it's an industrial road. It'll have ownership. It'll likely be split between the state of Alaska, the federal government, and the Native Alaska corporations.
Now, despite Trump is doing a 90 days negotiation period, it is set to expire around July 9th. Now, according to this report, it says, but his approach to China has been especially bewildering after imposing a 20% tariff on China imports. The American president quickly upped it, the rising of 54% to set off what he says was China unfair trade practice. Then enraging when the Chinese retaliate with tariffs of his own, he increased those 145%. Now Beijing counterpunched with 125% tariffs on the U.S. imports. Now, it says those triple digits tariffs threaten to effectively end trades between the United States and China, causing a hair rising sell-off in the financial market. At a meeting last month, the two countries agreed to back off American tariffs and went back down to a still high 30% and China 10%. In April, the Chinese announced license requirements that shows the supplies are desperately needed rare earth minerals to the United States. A furious about the move, Trump threatened to call off the deal. So we see, according to reports, it says setting the stage for talk Monday, Tuesday in London. And there the Chinese agreed to speed up the rare earth shipments. The agreement came as the international rights group says that several global brands are amongst dozens of companies at risk of using forced labor to their Chinese supplies chain because they use a critical minerals or biominerals based product source from the far western region of China. Now, America's at a point, y'all, that she's losing all trades, y'all. No one wants to do her bidding, y'all. If you look at the cargo, her shipmaster, all her delicious, delicate splendors all gone right here in the Western. Now, we've seen tariffs because the United States, they see what China has. And so we see the whole supply chain. When we look on this Chinese supply chain, because they use a critical mineral or biomineral based on product source from the far western region of China. Now, according to reports, it shows bear with me, the report based on a global right compliance, he says companies include Walmart, Coca-Cola, and other different sources where right groups allege the Chinese government runs coercive labor practice targeting predominantly Muslims and other minorities. Many analysis complained that all the drummen haven't accomplished much. Now let's go.
We would expect that construction would begin next spring with planning throughout this winter. The 211-mile long road will be a gravel road with a solid design base to handle the weight of the trucks that are going in and out. This is typical design that far north because asphalt with a freeze-thaw cycle, very difficult with asphalt or concrete. So gravel, a fantastic gravel road is going to have the least impact on the environment, going to be the best suited purpose. Alaska's done this in the past with the Red Dog line. They built a toll road that again has ownership. The companies that use the road pay to transit that road. So this is an economic model used around the world in mining districts. We'll apply it right here. And again, it's gonna generate revenue for the American people.
Nothing's going to generate revenue for American people. Now Trump says he liked the word tariffs, and he's putting tariffs on everything, y'all. He's putting tariffs on all the nations. You are seeing the food chain. You are seeing groceries going up. Cost of living finna go up. Your cost of gas is going to go up. Inflation high, y'all. Yes, inflation highs. You know what I mean? Expecting for economy crash. You know, next is going and probably China, you know what I mean, negotiating minerals. You know, these tariffs, y'all, Trump is not going to stop. You're going to start seeing massive tariffs. So be expecting a fallout soon. Let's go.
For the citizens of Alaska as opposed to a cost.
And also two bridges, we're gonna build two bridges that will be able to complete, and we'll get them up very quickly.
And how long to complete? I mean, 211 miles, that's a lot.
We'll get it done in less than a year.
It's going to come in three phases. The first road, as President Trump said, will go quickly, which is they call it a pilot road. We'll build a single lane gravel road through the full duration of it. That'll be then expanded into a second phase and then a third phase over time. But again, we want to get that pilot road built because then we can help get materials back to help the mine get started quickly as well.
Mr. President, there's negotiations happening with your team in Egypt right now over your proposed peace plan. It's reported by Axios over the weekend that you have called Prime Minister Netanyahu, where you told him to stop being so negative and to take the win when it came to the Hamas's response to that. Is that true?
No, it's not true. He's been very positive. He's been very positive on the deal. Everybody is. I think every nation is. We have just about every nation working on this deal and trying to get it done. Something that you could say 3,000 years if you look at it in certain ways, or you could say centuries, but this is a deal that incredibly everyone just came together. They all came together. No, Israel's been great. They've all been good, Caitlin.
And in the negotiations, do you have any red lines in terms of Hamas disarming and whatnot? Are there any places you're willing to
If certain things aren't met, we're not going to do it. But I think we're doing very well, and I think Hamas has been agreeing to things that are very important.
Mr. President, if the vote today fails in the Senate, will that trigger layoffs?
It could, at some point it will.
Now, it says, what are rare earth minerals and why are they central to Trump's trade wars? Now, the U.S. trade wars with China have a major sticking point: rare earth minerals. Now, last month, President Trump says the United States needed Greenland very badly, renewing his threats Greenland is a source-rich island with a plentiful supplies of critical minerals, a category that also includes rare earth elements under its ice sheets. Trump also signed a rare earth deal with Ukraine. The tussle over rare earth, according to reports, current administration China for years has built up a near total control of minerals as part of its wider industrial policies. Here's what you need to know about a rare earth. Now, what are rare earth and are they actually rare? Rare earth are 17 elements in the table made up. So it says the name rare earth is a bit as minerals are found throughout the earth crust. They are more abundant than gold, but they are difficult and costly to exact, process, also environmentally damaging. It says, what are rare earth used for? It says, rare earth are in a technology where we rely on every day, from smartphones to winds, to LED lights and flat screens, TVs. They're also crucial for batteries, electricity, vehicles, as well as MRI scanners and cancer treatments. Rare earth are also essential for the U.S. militaries. They are used in the F-35 fighter jets, submarines, lasers, satellites, missiles, and more, according to the 2025 research notes. So it says here, where do rare earth come from? It says the International Energy Agency says 61% is rare earth production comes from the China, and the country controls 92% of a global output in the process stage. Now, China owns a high percentage of mineral, excuse me. So when it comes to China, owns 92% of a global output in a process stage now. It says there's two types of rare earth calculated by the weights, heavy and lights. Heavy rare earth are more scarce in the U.S. Doesn't have the capabilities for the tough task of separating rare earth after. Now, let's go.
And, the Democrats are the ones that started this, and if you think about it, it's about healthcare to a large extent. It's about, we want great healthcare for people. We don't want to give the money away to other people that come pouring into our country, and they've already poured because nobody's coming into our country. Now we have the border totally stopped. In fact, numbers we just announced again, we're at another zero. So we have zero for 4 months in a row. Zero people coming into our country illegally. That's a pretty good number. I'm not sure even I can believe that, Doug. If you want us to zero, we went from millions of people to zero, but it's pretty close to that number. And the way you stop them is not to give away, not to announce that you're giving everybody free health care, free this and that. But what that does, it affects the American people, because the American people are unable to get good health care. Obamacare has been a wreck, as you know, and to do that, we have to keep it.
Look, we're not getting good health care under the Trump administration. Hell, under the Biden administration, at least we don't have to worry about our health care, man. He trying to pass this one big, ugly, big, beautiful bill to cut down health care. What do this do for millions of American people, man? always say, man, like, this ain't got nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. But no matter what we do, what have these parties done in these last centuries? We see for your freedom, your justice, your equality. See, neither party that seeks the presidency is faced with the problem of saving lives of Americans. It's like we always in the same, you know what I mean, in the same position, man. History will repeat itself. Nothing changed, y'all. The big problem, see, when they have the presidential elections, where they dress and talks about, you know, political issues, crimes, police killings on Black Americans, there have been no solution. There haven't even been a solution to find the right method. America's cities filled with crimes, murder, robbery, drug addiction. Now, when we see the Charlie Kirk assassination, now that is a political issue. That's a assassination political issue. This is why we see we got this Christian nationalism. See, when it comes to America, America don't have no respect for their own people. Hell, they don't even have respect for themselves. Let alone they don't have respect for the American people. I want to say we are in for a drought. This is a fallout, y'all, that's coming. Her economy is crashing apart. See, no one wants an old system because it's a new world that our people are looking for. The old system is going to die, y'all. This old gender is going to eventually die out. The old world is passing away in order for a new world to come in. Let's go.
Propped up and do the best you can with it. It's a mess. But a lot of things are going on in that, we talk about Hamas, and we talk about negotiations that we have going on right now. We have a negotiation going on right now with the Democrats that could lead to very good things. And I'm talking about good things with regard to health care.
Are you speaking with Democratic leaders? What kind of negotiations?
Well, I don't want to say that, but we are speaking with the Democrats, and some very good things could happen with respect to health care.
Would you make a deal with them on the ACA subsidies?
If we made the right deal, I'd make a deal, sure.
So you would make
I mean, you have right now subsidies. You have subsidies. That's the problem with Obamacare. The subsidies are so much. It's billions and billions of dollars is being wasted. And we can have a much better health care than we have right now. And we're talking to them. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen because this has also been going on, not for 3,000 years, but it's been going on for a long time. But yeah, we're talking to them. I'd like to see a deal made for great health care. Yeah, I want to see great health. I'm a Republican, but I want to see health care much more so than the Democrats.
All of this, as you know, the American people are experiencing a lot of pain.
Look, you guys, when it comes to America, man, we as American people, we are experiencing a lot of pain. We are actually tired of being lied. You know what I mean? We are tired of being lied to. We are tired of hearing fabricate lies. They don't want to do nothing about our healthcare. They want to demolish healthcare. I hate, you know what I mean? I hate to be so blunt, but they want to demolish our healthcare, man. They want to make healthcare less affordable. Hell, at least on the Obamacare, man, our healthcare we had it, you know what I mean, was good. Even we had Republicans, the House of Representatives, when it comes to Republicans, they didn't want the idea. Now that they took the House back, look what they're doing. They're making our healthcare unaffordable. That's why we're going to see a high increase of Medi-Cal and Medicare. Be expecting for a high increase, y'all. I told you already. Expecting your tax season this year is not going to be too good, because you're going to see a high increase on your Medi-Cal and Medicare. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, y'all. You can't make this stuff up. That's why Trump is really to push that one big, ugly, beautiful bill. Let's go.
And while you're dealing with Democrats, of course, Republicans are standing their ground. What is your message directly to the American people who may encounter some of this pain and despair? How do you give them hope?
Well, up till now, there hasn't been a great deal of pain. There could be a great deal of pain, but up till now, there hasn't been. I will say this, just hang in there, because I think a lot of good things are going to happen. That's all I can say. I mean, I think a lot of good things could happen, and that could also pertain to healthcare.
Follow-up question.
I've seen a surge in attacks on ICE agents across the country, including the shooting in Dallas and over the weekend in Chicago.
I want you guys to think for a second. Nothing good comes from these people. If we're already at this stage, right, nothing comes good from these people. We're already at this stage, y'all. We're seeing a whole collapse, a government fallout, government shutdowns. Now, what do this do for us? See, our future is at stake. And 99% of us may not even know it. But every evil spooner wanting to do his worst to you will make it difficult. For the 99% ignorant to ever know what's at stake. See, there's murder, there's robbery, there's drug addicts prone the streets. But you got FBI, you got detective, you got the CIA, you got the Homeland Securities, you got military troops, you got Marines. But these gruesome acts we see is committed right between the eyes and ears. I've been telling you guys, America is a wicked land. She's cursed. And there's no good comes out of these people. Trump is violating the 14th Amendment rights. Trump got a lot of lawsuits. And these lawsuits, not one of these lawsuits works in his favor. Because every lawsuit you see is breaking every constitution right. Now, in his Insurrection Act, he's continued to deploy heavy military troops in Chicago. If you guys don't know what martial law looks like, in Chicago, Trump sent ICE agents to terrorize the city of Chicago. Now, if you don't know what martial law looks like, well, I tell you, proper calls they don't need. They just come in, kick in the door, ramshack your house. That's what martial law looks like. Trump is dehumanizing population, depopulation, because it's about population control. See, when America, they didn't want two governments. They didn't want two presidents. See, they wanted one government, one president for all. And during that time, George Washington was a fugitive from England. Now, the same thing that Ronald Reagan is doing, Trump is doing. A lot of Americans is going to be hungry. Ronald Reagan have starved millions of black Africans that was hungry, going through hunger. The same thing Trump is doing. The more we see a government shutdown, the more you start seeing a lot of things start disappearing. It's sad, but we are coming to these times, y'all. Let's go.
Chicago, we saw 10 cars, a box of ICE agents, and another one ran into an ICE vehicle. How first Secretary Knowles saying that some of these attackers are actually organized and they're planning to kill and ambush these officers. What are the consequences when
Very severe. We're going to have very severe. We're going to find out who's going after our federal agents. So when you look at Chicago, they've had probably 50 murders in the last 6 or 7 months, 8 months. Many, many people shot. Like 30, 40, 50 people shot. Didn't die, but they've been shot. It's like a war zone. And then I listened to the governor and the mayor get up and say how they have it under control. They don't. It's probably worse than almost any city in the world. You can go to Afghanistan. You can go to a lot of different places, and they probably marvel at how much crime we have. Then you go to Memphis, where we are right now. Now, it's just like in Washington D.C. right now. You people know better than I do, because you have to live right inside.
Okay, Trump is continuing to deploy military troops in Washington, Memphis, Chicago. You know, He got him stationed in Los Angeles. And be expecting a whole nationwide crackdown. Be expecting martial law to go into play. But I say this for more updates, stay subscribed to this channel. Share this video. You know, we're gonna pretty much wrap this up. You know, I'm gonna play this last clip. But yeah, want y'all to use y'all discernment what's going on in our world, man. I've been always saying America can never carve out a future when she don't have a bright future for herself. Let's go.
And so many of the press have come to me, they've said, I can't believe it, it's changed so much. We have a safe city in Washington. Memphis will very soon have a safe city. Chicago can be very, very safe. It's going to be very safe. But Chicago is going to be very safe. And you say, why is it that a governor wouldn't accept free help from regardless? I mean, whether it's National Guard or the military or anybody. I mean, if
Okay, you guys, we're about to close up this live, but feel free to subscribe, share this live, make sure you hit the like button, and we're gonna get back to another live pretty soon. But till then, we out.